More updates now from the ongoing recovery process by the Australian government to turn around the devastation left by the recent floods. Prime Minister Scott Morrison continues to defend flood response as Queensland Premier says offer to declare a national emergency in the state's southeast is too late. There is more in this report.
The disaster in New South Wales and Queensland has killed 20 people and swamped thousands of homes in the past 2 weeks after record rains. Australia's federal and state governments have faced anger for not acting faster to help residents. After he met with anger and protest on his visit to flood-ravaged Lismore in New South Wales, Prime Minister Scott Morrison on Thursday met with the Australian Defence Force personnel while touring flood-affected parts of Queensland. Mr. Scott Morrison has promised more support for families, farms and businesses affected by the flood disaster as part of an additional package of support from the government. He says the federal government has deployed close to 6,000 Australian Defence Force personnel across Queensland and New South Wales to assist with the flood disaster recovery operations.
Right now, across the Defence Forces, there are some 5,000. This will be achieved by the end of today. 5,748 Defence Force personnel deployed across Navy, Army and RAF. That's 1,289 here in Queensland, 4,459 in New South Wales, which includes 2,918 specifically in northern New South Wales. We are providing continuing aviation support, relief task, plant task, recon for future engineering works, heavy plant operations in Lismore, food loading at the food distribution points where that's been tasked, aerial route reconnaissance is underway, continuing to assist with helicopter operations out of Southern Cross University.
Queensland is set to be included in the federal government state of emergency declaration, despite Premier Anastasia Palaszczuk's earlier refusal of the offer. Mr. Morrison says the Queensland Premier had every opportunity to write to him and ask for an emergency declaration a week ago, but she chose not to do so. Central Queensland was again hammered with more than 200 millimeters of rain in just 2 hours on Thursday. The Bureau of Meteorology has issued a fresh warning as a storm cell swept the eastern and southeastern coast. The latest forecast follows weeks of dangerous weather patterns in Queensland that have caused severe flooding.